Yo, what's up guys? I'm going to give you a little insight on guitar amp emulators and if I use them, what I think about them compared to real amps, and give you a little test drive of the ones that I do use. As some of you might know, I lived in an apartment for a long time, so I could never crank a real amp, and I depended on guitar emulators to do basically all the audio in my videos, and I still do. Probably 50 to 70% of all the audio you hear is what I'm about to show you, these plugins. So please enjoy this kind of demo slash opinion on guitar amp emulators, and I hope it helps you out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the comments section. I'm using an Apollo Twin Mark II quad core from Universal Audio. This is, I think, the best interface out there for the money. It's good for a lot of different scenarios in a music studio, but it's especially cool for guitar players, and I am going to show you why. So this is a control panel. It actually functions outside of your DAW, so I don't even have Logic open. I'm just going to play you the tones directly from the app. It's called Console. So here on the channel strip, I can load any number of plugins from Universal Audio, and obviously we're talking about guitar amp emulators, so we're going to check out the guitar and bass section. I am going to show you first this Fender 55 Tweed Deluxe. This is really, in my opinion, the best amp on this software, and it's also a great way to explain how these plugins are so close to real amps. So I'm going straight from my guitar into the Apollo Twin. And I'm going to go through a few presets and show you what this thing can do. So I'm going to just start with default. Let's see what a default take on the Fender 55 sounds like. So that's pretty awesome. The dynamic response is really the big differentiator between this company and that company and this company, their plugins, etc. So when I'm playing a guitar amp especially, I need to be able to feel the amp, so to speak. I need to be able to have it respond to my finger tone and to my dynamics, or else it'll just feel fake. So that's the biggest knock between modelers and things like that, is that they don't feel like an amp. So I can tell you with 100% certainty, this thing feels like I'm playing a vintage Fender amp. And yeah, you can't touch the amp. That's the one aesthetic part that's missing for me, but I'm not really in a position to be able to go out and spend $9,833 on a little vintage amp. And I don't think a lot of people are. So it's pretty sweet to be able to plug in to amps like these, pun intended, and really have all these tones at your fingertips. Check out another preset. How about Mellow Clean Strat? All right, now let's go to my favorite preset on this amp, the breakup. So with the ability to change microphones, and like I said, these are high quality plugins, so it is really close. I've actually played through a really old Fender amp like this, and it's really about the dynamics. It's the dynamics of your fingers against the strings that people kind of have a bad rap against these digital amps as opposed to real ones. While there's something to be said to actually touch the amp, this is as close as you're gonna get, and it's a fraction of the price. You're not gonna go out and buy a vintage amp for thousands and thousands of dollars, but you can get guitar software like this that'll be just as convincing and equally fun to play. All right, let's try a different route. Here is their take on a Friedman BE100. Just like last time, I'm gonna share a few of my favorite presets on this amp. Keep in mind, I can mess with these as much as I want, but I'm just gonna show you what comes out of the box stock. Here is Humbucker Rock A. How about heavy gated riff C? Let's try Lead Bite USA. So as you can see, between these two amps, the versatility is endless and it's all in your computer, and like I mentioned, it sounds very convincing to me. I don't know about you, but that sounds like a Friedman amp. So I picked Universal Audio's stuff because I think they make the best gear on the market. I'm not like endorsed by them or anything like that. I just saw them at NAMM. That's where I first found out about their products. I always knew about the Apollo Twin, but this is the second generation. And actually, I better sound this alarm.
Guitar nerd alert. Guitar nerd alert.
The Apollo has this technology inside it that actually allows it to run off of its own brain instead of taking up space and memory on your computer. So that is what allows these plugins to be so powerful and exact. So for example, the Fender Tweed emulator is using the same gain stages, the same impedance, the same circuitry behaviors as the original amp. And it's all designed by the guys at Universal Audio. It's completely designed by them, I believe, that particular amp. And it's just so cool to have something like that when you're making music, because otherwise I wouldn't even ever have been able to play out of an amp like that, or really had the desire to, because I didn't really know much about it. I mean, I knew Fender was iconic, but this particular amp is one of the most recorded amps in the history of music. I just think it's awesome that you can have that range of tones at your disposal right in your home and never have to pay millions of dollars to get them. So it's a great creative tool. I just sit down, plug in, and start creating. It doesn't take any extra energy to set up an amp or set up your pedal board. Not that I'm ever going to abandon the analog setup. I'm always going to have an amp and pedals, but for somebody like me who creates a lot, this has been a game changer. So definitely consider guitar plugins if you hope to create your own music, or you're a content creator, or if you're a guitar player. I highly recommend them. I use Universal Audio Apollo. You can use whatever you want to, but this one has been just really inspiring to play every day, and I'm glad that it's the heartbeat of my studio. So I hope you guys learned a little bit from this lesson. Obviously, you can go a lot more in depth when you do get the guitar plugins, and I'll be doing more videos on specifics about plugins. And for all of you guys always asking, how did you get that tone, bro? Now you know where I got it. So until next time, keep shredding.